Hello everyone, this is the Untitled Critic, and today we're taking a look at the technical performance of Elden Ring on the Steam Deck. So we will be checking not only starting locations in the game, but also uh, a couple of more advanced areas and in-game locations, just to get a better idea of how the game runs. So first of all, we take a look at our settings. The game is set to 720p, simply because Elden Ring does not support 16 by 10 ratio, only 16 by 9. Quality settings are set to high, which is the default for the Steam Deck. Everything was on high. I tried uh, tinkering a little bit, trying to check if medium and low would be worth it, and frankly, it does not. It simply does not worth the effort, simply because you'll be sacrificing a lot of fidelity, and payoff is not really that much in terms of frame rate. Especially for a game this beautiful, you definitely want to see all the little details. Alright, so we are near the Palace of Mog. This is quite an advanced area in the game. I can say it's an end-game location. And let's see what happens when we have a lot of enemies just following us. So as you see, we have all a very chaotic scene happening, and the game still manages to hit 40 frames per second. Alright, we're done with this bloodbath. As you can see, the frame rate is simply very consistent. We're getting 40 frames per second for the most part. Very smooth experience regardless of whether we have enemies following us, a lot of action happening. Very playable. Alright, but this is a very small area in the game. Now we want to check the open world, because that's where the game actually struggles on the Steam Deck. Surprisingly, when it comes to Elden Ring, the game seems to have worse performance in the open world, in the early locations of the game, rather than the in-game locations. This is one of the earliest locations you will visit in the game, and you can see the frame rate is just dropping to below 30. We're seeing 26 at its lowest. I mean, of course, there are lots of foliages, lots of trees. It's raining. Some particles in the air. And navigating the world at high speed inside such locations can definitely feel a little bit choppy, but still playable. I mean, once you leave the forest, the frame rate does stabilizes and you start to see like 40s, so it's not a big deal. And this is a good indication of what's the worst to expect from the game. Like, this is the worst case scenario. Another area where the game does struggle a little bit is near the academy. Uh, and in that area simply there are lots of water, fog, Actually, we may visit that area, but I can't fast travel right now. Okay, now we can. All right. Oops. Well, that was weird. Anyway, so the game did freeze a little bit. I must mention that I've just updated the Steam Deck, and so there could be some few more files that the device is downloading, so that might explain that little freeze. But anyway, so here is, we are near the academy, this lake. Surprisingly, it's not really as bad as I remember. I remember it was tipping quite a lot. I guess with perhaps the recent updates may have helped a little bit. And this is way better than I remember it. We're getting north of 30 frames per second, which is great. Even with all the water, all the fog, everything. Alright, so let's try to check a legacy dungeon. You know what, let's try to check one of the in-game locations. This is Mikela's Helic Tree. And look what we have here, 50 frames per second. Alright. We have Scarlet Trot, but that's fine, we can... Actually, we may just rest here. Okay. So as you see, the game just looks stunning, and despite this being a legacy dungeon, it's actually quite big. It has lots of verticality, lots of rooms, lots of shortcuts. And yeah, it manages to hit 50 frames per second. But obviously there are some dips, so in general I would recommend just reducing the frame rate, limiting the frame rate to 40 frames per second, which seems to be the best option on Steam Deck. I mean, obviously the game can go beyond 40 frames per second in some locations, but when you are navigating the open world, it can dip below 40 frames per second, and these dips can feel pretty jarring if you have a higher frame rate. So 40 frame rate seems like the perfect balance between these options. Again, this is Elden Ring running on high settings on a handheld, which is incredible. Alright guys, so this was Elden Ring on Steam Deck. I hope you enjoyed the video. This is not a review, this is just a technical showcase to give you an idea of how the game runs and look on the deck. If you want to read the full review, you can head on to my website, untitledcritic.com, and you can read the full review. I'll leave a comment below with the link. And if you have any suggestions or questions, please leave them in the comment section. All right, see you.